On May 24th, President Trump signed in a significant regulatory relief bill for small and community and regional banks. The importance of this is that it will allow them to extend more credit to the real economy and should also improve the return profile for underlying TruPS CDO positions. Two of the specific areas that are addressed here are, one, it raises the definition of too big to fail over time from approximately $50 billion in assets to $250 billion in assets. This is important because it will dramatically reduce the compliance costs of regional banks in particular, but also smaller community banks to comply with stress testing and other onerous requirements. Furthermore, it takes the caution a little bit away from them in that they are very focused still on looking over their shoulder anytime they extend a new loan. Without having the onerous stress testing requirements, they can be a little more comfortable that every loan they look at won't be cherry-picked and henpecked by regulators. Furthermore, if you're a $75 billion institution looking to buy a $50 billion institution, that consolidation could lead to a price pickup in underlying trust preferreds as a stronger bank buys a weaker bank, or there's a chance that they actually buy the underlying trust preferreds out in the new combined entity, which would lead to a return of capital faster and a better investing outcome. Importantly enough, the law, which is different than the regulatory reinterpretation by the Trump administration, goes even further. In the case of the regulatory reinterpretation, it was moving from 50 to 100 billion. In the case of the law, it's moving from 250 billion. So two things there: permanence and also a larger overall asset limit, which should be good for these securities. Another example is the bill raises the small bank holding company limit from $1 billion to $3 billion. Now, it's hard to argue that this is going to have a dramatic impact on lending for the economy, but where we'll have a fairly significant impact is that now banking institutions, many of which are community banks, can issue debt securities at a much lower cost of funding that will now count as Tier 1 capital, which they can in turn use the proceeds to buy out much more expensive trust preferred securities. So imagine you're a bank management, you're sitting there, should I keep these trust preferred securities around that are trading at a discount, or should I buy them out at a price close to par? And I'll probably do that because now I can issue debt that costs a fraction of what the trust preferred securities did. Remember, TruPS CDOs are backed by the trust preferred securities of regional and community banks. Community banks in particular benefit from the increase from $1 billion to $3 billion for the Small Bank Holding Company Act that allows banks to issue debt and retire more expensive junior debt securities that are no longer economically viable in this new regulatory environment. That step will help drive returns for those that are invested in TruPS CDO tranches, particularly the mezzanine tranches that our managers own.
All investments are subject to risk, including the possible loss of the money you invest. For more information about SkyBridge Capital Multi-Advisor Hedge Fund Portfolio Series G, call 1-888-759-2730 to obtain a prospectus. Investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and other important information about a fund are contained in the prospectus. Read and consider it carefully before investing. This webcast is for educational purposes only. We recommend that you consult a professional advisor about your individual situation.